Hi, welcome to this week's update, although it's a bit late. I'm Muzz I Evolve. A lot's happened, things have gone kind of sideways, but I'll tell you all about that at the end of this video. What I wanted to speak about this week is how sometimes false flags are also a distraction. So, false flags that have been really planned, that are actually a bit ritualistic, like the 9/11 event, they serve multiple functions. Many false flags are reactionary. There's something going on, there's some kind of awakening occurring in the populace, and so they need an immediate distraction. So they'll put together a false flag, and it'll be something that'll be unfurled, but was really only planned over a period of weeks, months, perhaps even days. But 9/11 was something they planned really from the moment they broke dirt, and even before that, in the building of those two towers. So we're talking, because I think those towers, they broke dirt for those towers in like 1967, something like that. And they were built always with the intention that they would be knocked down in some type of dramatic way as a ritualized thing. And that's why it occurred on 9/11. That's why the emergency number in the US is 911, because this is a ritualistic, it's a religious number for them. And you may, when you think about it, it's very odd that in all of the 9/11 coverage, no one ever said, wow, it's just like 911, our emergency number. 9/11, 911, it's the same number. Wow, isn't that such a coincidence? Did you ever hear anyone say that? Doesn't it seem like something very obvious they would have spoken about, but they never did? And it's because they're instructed not to, because they don't want you and I making those connections and realizing what's going on here. Why did it occur on these two numbers? On these two different things, but they're exactly the same number, a 9, a 1, and a 1. So, there are many things in popular media that also telegraph that they knew 9/11 was going to happen, that it was a planned event. And I'm kind of going off a bit of a tangent here, but this may be interesting for you. So, watch The Matrix, and when Mr. Anderson is being interviewed by Mr. Smith for the very first time, and Mr. Anderson, Neo, pulls out his license, and the expiry date of his license is 9/11/2001, literally the day of 9/11, and this movie was made before 9/11. So the expiry date of his license is literally the day of 9/11. That's not coincidence. Clearly it's not coincidence. That's because they've put the subliminal messaging in there, because it's predictive programming. So when it occurs, you're kind of already passively conditioned to accept this has occurred, and also to release themselves from the karmic debt. Those who are orchestrating all this, if they have told you and you did nothing about it, then they are exonerated from any of the karma which would be incurred by doing it against our will. But because we have been made aware of it, although very sneakily and subliminally, and we didn't do anything about it, then it's been our free will to accept that event. That's how the logistics of the religion works. And then there's lots of other things. Like there's a scene in Terminator II where John Connor, just a teenage boy, is on a motorbike going through the cemented canal, and they're being pursued by that big truck that is driven by another robot. And they go under a bridge, and it says, danger, 9 foot, 11 inches, 9/11, danger, 9/11. So the point is, this was something they had been planning for a long time, and there are many more references everywhere. Like there is a photo of Rockefeller, David Rockefeller, on the cover of a magazine from like 1972 or something. You had better fact check me this, because I can't remember the date of the magazine. But in that, the hands of his watch are set to 9/11, 11 past 9. Anyway, lots and lots and lots of references like that. And so this was something they really planned for a long time. And because it was planned for a long time, they used it in as many ways as they possibly could. And one of the ways was as a massive distraction. Because on 9/10, the day before 9/11, Donald Rumsfeld, who at the time was the Secretary of Defense, he held a press conference. This is literally the day before 9/11. And he said, oh gosh, we're sorry to say this, but $2.3 trillion has gone missing from the Pentagon budget. We can't account for it. We don't know what's happened to it. It's just disappeared. $2.3 trillion or $2.2 trillion. This is incredible, the amount of money that is. That's 2.2 thousand billion dollars, or $2.2 million dollars. It's mind-boggling, and of course it's theft. It's money that's been stolen from the hard-working, tax-paying American citizens, and then used by a very small cabal to do black budget operations all over the world, probably building technology, take them off into outside the solar system and doing all kinds of things. It's the theft, that's what it is. And so this should have been the biggest story in the world. It should have been like sort of a mind-blowing reality that the US government had stolen over $2 trillion from the citizens of that country. And just as an aside, that number has increased substantially since then, and it's up now around $6 trillion or $8 trillion money unaccounted for by the Pentagon. Apparently just lost. It's like gone, oh, we don't know what happened to it. $8 trillion. It's nuts. Anyway, so this should have been the biggest story in the world. But then 9/11 happens. And of course, it totally falls off the news cycle. And the media now is entirely focused on 9/11. So 9/11 achieved many things, including to be a massive distraction to point eyes away from this incredible admission of guilt of stealing $2.2 trillion from the American taxpayers. And even more so, when the airplane hit the Pentagon, which we've seen now, there is footage available which shows it was actually a missile. It was a ground-aware missile that struck the Pentagon. And the area of the Pentagon that it struck was the offices where they were doing the forensic financial accounting to discover what happened to the $2.2 trillion. That's amazing, right? Wow, what a coincidence. It's incredible. So, I just thought it was interesting because we've been speaking a little bit about 9/11 recently. Now, I'll tell you now what's going on in my life. I should actually be landing in Asia now, but I'm still in Canada because we flew from Colombia to Mexico to Canada specifically to get on a flight here. It's the only flight that we can take from North America into Asia that's direct. And there is other flights that are from the US, but we can't enter the US because we're not vaccinated. So this is the only flight we can take. And I booked the flights like 6 weeks ago, and I had everything. I had Bengo, my dog was cleared for the export from here, for the immigration into Asia. We had the plane tickets, everything. Then I called the airline 24 hours before the flight just to make sure everything's okay. This is just part of my process, including asking, has my dog been attached? You sure he's on there? And that's when they said to me, oh, well, he isn't on there because he's not an accepted breed. I'm sorry, but he can't fly with us. And this is something that they had decided a long time ago, but no one ever contacted me to tell me. So we spent thousands of dollars traveling all these leapfrogging to eventually get here to catch the plane. Because I'm actually in the airport now at Toronto to go back to Mexico. But no one ever bothered to contact me to tell me. So it's just like, it was like my brain melted when I heard this. And I was begging on the plane, please, on the phone, please, just let us on. But no, they wouldn't do it. So we're going back to Mexico. We don't know what we're going to do. We refunded the tickets, but we don't receive the money from the the refund from the tickets for another, they said up to 3 billing cycles, which is like 90 days. So it may be 2 to 3 months before we get that money back, and we don't have enough money to buy tickets until we get that back. So we're just going to go to Mexico, hunker down, and then wait until it's possible for us to try some type of plan B. I'm not sure what plan B is going to eventuate, but I have some ideas, which I may discuss with you in the future. Anyway, so back to Mexico we go. We're going to go to Mexico City, and I found a place on the outskirts of Mexico City. It's quite cheap, quite nice, and probably I'm going to start the course while I'm there, because the date that I said I would start the course, I'm actually going to be at this place in Mexico City, so we'll start the course there, and we'll just see what happens. So that's the update. I'm very sorry that I'm late, but it has just been an absolutely mind-melting last many days trying to get everything organised to leave the country, and then it all getting flipped on its head when we're told that we can't board the plane. There is so much more to this story, which I'm not telling you. But there is actually something that's really interesting, which I think you'll enjoy. But this video is getting too long, so I'm going to put that in the next one. There you what? I know. Sorry about that. But I'll tell you that part in the next one, because I think that's quite cool. And that's why I'm at peace about what happened, because I had a realization. And once I had that realization, I kind of was able to let it all go, and I went into a place of sort of peaceful contentedness. And I'll tell you about what that was in the next video. So thank you. I love you. You're so patient. It's crazy times, but I'm here with my wonderful son, who is my wingman. I couldn't do it without him. And over here, I'll show you Bengo. Here's Bengo. Here's Bengo down here. Yeah, can you see him? He's like under a bench here, having a little nap. So we're here now. We're going to sleep in the airport tonight, and then we're going to catch a plane tomorrow. We just thought it would be cheaper than getting a hotel room. We're kind of on a bit of a budget right now. So anyway, I love you, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.